You're listening to Broadening My Horizons on Paris Underground Radio. For more great content, please visit parisundergroundradio.com.
Hello, and welcome to Abroadening My Horizons on Paris Underground Radio. My name is Abby Riffel, and I'm a 21-year-old college student from a small town in Kansas who is living in Paris for the summer and will be bringing you along with me as I discover the city. We are now only a week away from me leaving Kansas and arriving in Paris. And so I thought I would update you guys on just some things I talked about from my last podcast. And one of those first things is caffeine. Specifically, I said that I wanted to significantly cut back on the amount of caffeine that I was consuming. So at the time that I recorded that, I was still in school and I was having about an energy drink a day, which is very bad. I don't recommend it. I did not feel good. I don't know why I was doing that, but every time I had tried to cut out caffeine before, like I had mentioned, I would get headaches. I'd be extremely tired. So that was something I wanted to cut out because I was like, I don't want to be going through caffeine withdrawals when I'm already going to be dealing with jet lag and travel and just the stress of all that. That's just a lot of unnecessary stress for my body. As soon as I got done with school and I came back home, I immediately cut out all energy drinks. And I have not had a single energy drink since I got back. So that's been about 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm extremely proud of that. It was a lot easier than I thought it would be. But I also think that's because I took a 2-hour nap that first week that I cut them out every single day. I was constantly sleeping. So it was probably good for my body to just get that rest, but also good for my body that I didn't have to depend on caffeine to get me through the day. Don't get me wrong, I haven't completely cut out all caffeine. That would be near impossible for me, I think, but I have significantly cut it down. So I still have the occasional coffee. I literally had a tea this morning. Sometimes I drink a soda, but it is not nearly what it was when I was in school, when I was having an energy drink and a coffee a day. That was actually insane. I can't believe I was doing that. So I do feel a lot better. I feel more naturally awake and not so burnout. I've been drinking a lot of water too, because I was that will probably help my body feel better and flush out all the nasty stuff from the energy drinks. So that's a small win for my book and for this travel thing that I'm very excited about. Another update, I talked about how I didn't want to come across as ignorant and I felt just kind of overwhelmed with everything that I had to learn. And I do feel a lot more confident in what I know now. I've been doing a lot of research when I've come back, Now that I have my whole day free, I've been watching YouTube videos and reading articles and looking up maps of Europe just to kind of see where I'm at so I'm not completely clueless. So I think that's been good. I feel a lot more confident with what I know, but I also don't want to be overconfident in what I know, because I think a lot of the things that I'm learning or trying to understand, I don't think I'll fully be able to grasp it until I'm there doing it, or until I kind of have that perspective of what it's like over there. It's kind of this balance of trying to learn as much as I can, but not feeling like I know it all or not becoming a know-it-all. So that has been interesting to find that balance and to be okay with understanding that I won't know everything. So that's kind of a little update on some of the things I've been talking about. So since I got back home, like I said, I've been just doing a lot of research. I've been trying to work on packing, and that has proved itself to be a challenge because I am not known for being a minimalist. So I don't think I'm completely consumerism, obsessed with my stuff, but I do have a lot of stuff and I don't like to part without certain things. So that has made it kind of hard with packing because there's a weight limit and there's only so many bags I can bring, and I don't want to pay money for extra bags. And they always tell you, oh, save some room because you're going to be bringing home a lot of stuff too. So it's been kind of I feel like a puzzle trying to figure out, okay, what can you go without for a month? What do you absolutely need? What's something that you can buy there that you don't necessarily need to pack? What's something that they may not have there that you for sure need to pack? It's been very interesting. It's like a little game, I feel like, just trying to figure it all out, trying to learn stuff about travel because I have not a lot of experience traveling at all. I've never been outside of the United States and I haven't really flown. I've flown a few times, but the furthest was like from Kansas to Florida. So that's only like a couple hour flight. It's not really anything. So I'm not really familiar with airports and like all the rules they have for baggage, and been figuring out a lot of, okay, what can you bring? What can't you bring? I've been watching YouTube videos about like what to do for long flights and what's the best way to beat jet lag on the planes and stuff. And actually leading into that, I feel like I messed up choosing my plane seats because how my flight works is it's 2 flights there and then 2 flights back. So my first one, I think I have like a 2-hour flight to Philadelphia, and then from there it's a 7-hour flight to Paris. And then on my way back, it's a 10-hour flight to Texas, and then like an hour and a half flight back to Kansas. And so I have been on a plane before, I said that, and I know I prefer window seats over like aisle seats. So I was like, I know I want window seats, but I don't know if I would want those for my long flights, because if I have to go to the bathroom, I don't want to be like standing up and like having to shuffle over people a lot and annoy them. I don't like being a nuisance to people. So I was like, I think I'm just going to choose window seats for my short flight. That way, if I have to go to the bathroom, it's like I'll probably have to go once if I do end up going. And then for my long flight, I was like, I'll choose aisle seats because then if I have to go up to the bathroom, I can get up and go as many times as I want. And I'm probably not bugging anyone, really. So that's what I did for my flights when I was picking out my seats. And then I was watching this video that was like best tips for travelers with long flights. You know, I was just listening to it. And they said, if you want to sleep on the way there, it's best to choose a window seat. And I was like, well, shoot, why didn't I do that? Because my whole game plan was to sleep on the flight to try to help balance out jet lag so it wouldn't be as severe when I landed. And the video told me if you get a window seat, then you can lean your head against something. And I was like, that's very smart because now if I have an aisle seat, I don't have really anything to lean my head against and it's going to be harder to sleep. And also, if the person who has the window seat on my aisle has to get up and use the bathroom a lot, I'm the one being interrupted. And if I'm trying to sleep, that might become an issue. Maybe this is a very selfish thought, but I really was like, I feel like I really messed up my seats. And that probably wasn't the smartest thing to do. I wasn't really thinking when I bought the plane tickets and chose the seats. So that's going to be interesting to see how that ends up going, if it is bad or if it's fine or if it really doesn't matter. I know everyone has different preferences, but I feel like I wasn't really thinking when I bought my tickets. So since I've come home from college, that was, like I said, 2 or 3 weeks ago, every single day, the only thing on my mind is getting ready for this trip and just like trying to figure out what I need, what it's going to be like, trying to like not freak out, but also like not just sit around and wait for this. I feel like I have been. I don't really do anything in the day besides plan for Paris or talk to my bank that I'm going to Paris or pack for Paris or watch videos for Paris. All my mind is on Paris all the time, I feel like. And it doesn't help because I don't know why or how this happened, but I feel like everyone I know right now is going to Paris. One of my friends from high school, she's there doing a nanny job. I get to see all of her pictures. She's actually not in Paris, she's in France. But I get to see all her pictures of France. And then I have 2 friends from college who were in Paris, like not that long ago. And so it's so hard because I'm like, oh, I'm just waiting for when I get to go. All I ever do is around Paris. I'm literally wearing a t-shirt that says Paris right now. As I record this, it's just interesting. And it's funny how like literally the most random things in my life, I like always find a way to end up correlating them back to Paris. So like I just turned 21. My birthday was on May 6th. So the day before my birthday, I was getting ready to buy tickets to go watch this show in Branson, Missouri. And in the parking lot, I slammed my finger in the car door. And it was pretty bad. It like pushed, I don't want to get too graphic, but it pushed back my cuticle and it was bleeding in the parking lot. and I was in so much pain. Like, I think it did damage to my nerves or something when I slammed it. It was like a pain I have not felt before. And so I'm there in this parking lot and I'm in extreme pain. Like my nail is bleeding out. And all I can think about is if I lose this nail, I'm going to have like a nubby finger in Paris without a nail. But I think that really shows like where my mind is at lately, to where like even through this immense pain, I'm still thinking about Paris and my appearance there, I guess. But I did not lose the nail, actually. It is all gross and bruised and not good. I call it my zombie nail, but I have not lost it yet. So my fear that I wouldn't have a fingernail in Paris is probably not going to come to fruition, which is a good thing, I guess. But yeah, like I was saying, my mind is always on Paris. Like for the past 2 weeks, every other night, I think I'm having a dream about my trip. Like those stress dreams where it's like, oh my gosh, you forgot this important thing, or you missed your flight, or all this. So they're not very fun dreams, but it is funny because it's like, I know I'm having those dreams because have so much anticipation with this trip, and I'm really excited, but also nervous. And there's just a lot of emotions with it. So it's really funny. And then sometimes I like can't sleep at night because I'm thinking about the trip, and it'll be like midnight here and I'll be like, oh, it's 7 a.m. in Paris right now. I wonder what the weather's like over there right now, or I wonder who's starting their day over there. It's really interesting just to see where my thought process is going with all of this. And that's all I really have to talk about with people here, with my family. Like there's nothing new in my life except my upcoming trip. So that's been fun, just talking with them every day. It was funny because I think yesterday I was going to have lunch with my brother, and I was like, I've talked about Paris so much. I'm sure my family is just sick of hearing about it. So I was like, I'm going to go this whole day without talking about Paris. And as soon as I ate lunch with my brother, it was like we had nothing to talk about except my Paris trip, because there's just nothing really happening else in my life besides this, which is fun. Like I don't need a lot of excitement.
If you're enjoying this podcast, you might enjoy our sister podcast, Romancing in Paris, where Paris's leading romantic expert, Lily Heisey, travels around the city to discover Paris's top romantic places and share each one's captivating story. You can listen on parisundergroundradio.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Abroadening My Horizons will return right after the break. Welcome back to Abroadening My Horizons.
If you haven't picked it up, my whole life right now revolves around this country that I do not live in and have never visited, but I'm so excited to be there. I keep getting like all the planning for my internship and for my program has been coming through. Today, I received my itinerary we're taking a day trip to the Palace of Versailles while I'm there, which is probably like what I am most excited for. I'm so excited to go to the Palace of Versailles, but we received the itinerary and what we'll be doing and how long we'll be there. And that was so exciting. And I got my roommate assignments, and we've been meeting some of the interns. And it was actually funny because I was kind of stressed about like meeting the interns. Not stressed, but I was a little worried about meeting the interns because I was like, oh, what if I just don't fit in with them? Like a lot of them have traveled before and I've never traveled before, and I'm from like the middle of Kansas, I was like, oh, what if I'm this really country girl and they can't relate to anything at all? And so I posted something on my Instagram story the other day, and some of us follow each other already because we've been trying to get to know each other. And so one of them responded to my Instagram story, and I was going to respond back to them, and I accidentally clicked the call button. And so it started calling their account, like voice calling through Instagram. And I've never like called anyone via Instagram before, so I could not figure out how to hang up. It felt like 50 years, but I'm sure it's literally like 20 seconds. Finally figured out how to hang up, and I like messaged them and I was like, I'm so sorry, I did not mean to call you, haha, like trying to play it off. And I was like, that was the worst first impression of my life. I can't believe I just did that. Thankfully, they were so chill with it. They were like, oh no, it's so cool. I thought you were just calling to be excited with me. And so I feel like I kind of made a friend through that kind of awkward encounter. That is very on brand for me to do, to accidentally call someone and then not figure out how to hang up. So that was kind of embarrassing for me that I did that, but they were really cool with it. Now I feel like we have this little inside joke. When we do meet up in Paris, I could be like, hey, remember that time I accidentally Instagram called you? So I do feel like a little bit better, especially since they were so cool with it. I'm like, okay, like they're cool and they're going to be nice to this little girl from Kansas. So that has made me feel a lot better, even though that was a little awkward at first. And I still can't believe I did that. So I think that's all I have for my second podcast. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all in Paris.
Thank you for listening to Abroadening My Horizons on Paris Underground Radio. I'm your host, Abby Riffel. If you liked this podcast, please make sure to rate it and give it a review. If you want to get in touch, you can reach me at hello@parisundergroundradio.com or on Instagram at @AbbyRiffel_. Thank you for listening.
This episode was produced by Abby Riffel and Jennifer Garrity for Paris Underground Radio. For more on this show and shows like it, please visit parisundergroundradio.com.